Hi, and today is about the midterm idea pitch, and it's our honor to invite the three managers from Advantech, and they are from the projects and business division related to your idea pitch. So I do believe you will learn a lot practical advice from them related to your projects. And notice one thing today, we will follow the schedule on the board. Each group has 20 minutes, followed up by 10 minutes Q&A. And after finishing all the idea pitch, each invited manager will give around 10 to 15 minutes about their observation as to your performance and tell you how to improve or advance and even make your project better in the next round for final presentation. Okay, so that is our objective, and I also believe our TS already passed the scoring sheet to each of your team members. So that's why you always see how we evaluate your performance. So please stick with the criteria, and I do believe you will do your best. And I will quickly read all the slides you sent out. Actually, all of you are very fantastic. Okay, so before we start, and we like each invited speaker to introduce the business division they are from and how they look at your idea pitch and how do they evaluate your performance. Also, they can introduce their expertise in their business. Yeah, thanks.
Hello everyone, I'm Ellie Wang, and we are evaluating team. So I'm Ellie Wang, and I'm from the WisePath IoT team from Advantech. I believe you all know Advantech is the #1 in the world for the IPC, industrial PC. Our market share is 32%, and the second place is like just 80%. And we are in the leading position for like a decade, and we are 35 years old for Advantech. So we know Advantech is very good at IPC, but what is WisePath? I'm from WisePath. WisePath is actually the Advantech software families, our cloud service platform. So my position is business development manager. So from the WisePath product, our software solutions, we need to promote and introduce to the world as well. Without the software, if you just consider the IPC, the hardware, people just check the price, check the spec, and they can just get another product, another IPC with lower price. So without the backup of the total solution, including software and hardware together, that helps Advantech to our leading position to the worldwide #1. And my experience is I have, let me reveal my age. I have over 10 years international sales experience. I've been covered Europe market, American market, and also Asian market. And I've been to over 35 countries in my past 10 years. So I hope from my experience I can help you and give you some advice and suggestion about your pitch. And we have Vincent Liu here, this gentleman. He is from our IoT.sense business division. This division is at corporate level and is helping all our customers about the consulting service. So, and also about the knowledge sharing. So IoT.sense is very important division for Advantech, and we have very experienced consultants. So actually, Winston is our senior manager, and he is our very experienced consultant, especially in iFactory sector. So he can also help you a lot. And everyone, you know our beautiful Apple. So here is Apple. Apple will also give you some suggestions. Okay, I think we can start. Okay.
So we start from the group 4, and now we have 20 minutes to do IoT.
Hi Ali, hi Vincent, and hi Apple, and everyone and Sunny. We are Group 4, and our topic is about road traffic management. Yeah. So the idea why we choose this subject is because I think everyone, whether you're Taiwanese or when you come to Taiwan, you were very impressed by the traffic. It's very heavy and the traffic jam is very serious. So we want to know how can we improve the situation right now in Taiwan, so we can make any improvements of the roads and the traffic right now. So the mismanagement of road traffic lead to the topic as follows, like waste of time. A lot of people just waste a lot of time waiting on the traffic light, and road accidents and economic loss, and recently air pollution is very serious. So we want to know how to improve this system better and better. So the next one we will introduce how do we determine the traffic light in Taiwan. So that's.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about current system, how the timing is calculated at intersections around Taiwan right now. And then later we'll talk about how maybe we can improve on that current system. So this is the this is the formula. C here is the time for one total cycle. So a cycle is the time for if it's a two-way intersection for the northbound and the eastbound. So each way has a green light, and the current or the one cycle is green for northbound plus green for eastbound, and also the yellow light time. So so in the numerator here we have n, which is the number of ways. So usually it's a two-way intersection. This is 2. And then TL is the time for the yellow light. So in the numerator, usually it's 6. And down here we have VNB and VEB. This is the volume of cars northbound plus the volume of cars eastbound. And then in the denominator we have 3,600 seconds. That's per hour, right? So these VNB and VEB is per hour. But we want the time in seconds, so we divide by 3,600. And then H here is the time between cars. So to me this was a little bit confusing at first, because you think when there's traffic, there's less time between cars, because the cars are close together. But actually that's not true. The H is the time between when the first car passes a sensor and the time when the second car passes a sensor. So when there's traffic, actually H goes up. When there's not traffic, cars are traveling faster, and so H goes down. So when H goes up, this guy becomes smaller, and so this becomes bigger. It's a little bit confusing. So when H goes, okay, if you multiply this by H and then put it up here, it's a little bit easier intuitively, right? So when H gets bigger, then this fraction gets bigger, and then 1 minus this fraction becomes smaller. So the total time goes up for that intersection. So you can think of it as when there is more traffic, there's more time for the intersection. Also with the VNB and the VEB, when there's more cars moving on the road, northbound and eastbound, also more time. Okay, so this is the breakdown for each way, northbound or eastbound. Basically, it's just proportional. The time, let's take green northbound for an example. So if we're traveling northbound, this way, right? The time that it's green is proportional to the number of cars, the volume traveling northbound. Okay? And the L here is the total, you have a question?
No, I'm fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah.
Okay, the L is 6 seconds usually. So that's the yellow northbound and the yellow eastbound. So we subtract that from the total time, and we multiply the total time less the yellow light time times the proportion of the volume going northbound, and then you get the total time for the green northbound. And then it's the same rationale eastbound. And then you can see if you add the green, which is the green light time northbound, plus the green light time eastbound, plus the yellow light time, total yellow light time, you get C. So here's an example. If VEB and VNB are equal to 800 and 700 respectively, and we have a two-way intersection and 3 seconds for the yellow light, we can calculate that out, and we'll get 36 seconds for the total time for that intersection, which is actually a little bit low. It's usually probably more than that. But then you can break it down by northbound and eastbound. So, and I put this here because it's a reminder that when it's green northbound, it's red eastbound. So you can think of it both ways. So one cycle is red eastbound plus red northbound, or green northbound plus green eastbound. It doesn't matter. It's just one cycle. Okay, so you put the numbers in and you get 16 seconds for the northbound and 14 seconds for the eastbound. So you add those two together, you get 30. Then you add back the 6 seconds for the yellow light, and you get 36 for the total cycle of that intersection. The total time for that intersection of one cycle. Okay, so that's my part, and then I'm going to pass it to Nick. He's going to talk about the data.
And in this part, we will talk about which kind of data we will choose and how we collect them. So basically, on this model, so we make sure the system is dynamic and accurate. So we need to put sensors to collect real-time information, which will be mentioned before. And our choose data is these 3 kinds of data. And first is VEB. VEB is the traffic flowing to the east, and second is traffic flowing to the north, and the third is H. And H is talk about the time needed to catch up with the car ahead. And we will talk about how to collect them. And first, we put the sensors under the road, and when the first car passes through the sensor, and the sensor will pass the data back to our system, so we can know how many cars are on the road at a given time. And third step is, and we calculate the time between the first car and the second car pass through the sensor, so we can get the data of H, and we can put these 3 kinds of data back to our system and make our system to be dynamic.
Hi. So right now we already know the situation right now, and we also know the data we want to know to improve the system. And so I want to introduce why and what and how we need this new system like IoT. So in this case, I want to know how often do they change the traffic light, but I cannot find any information online, so I just call the Taiwan government and I ask them, how often do you change the red light? So for example, in the intersection in front of our gate is Xinsennan and Lusifu, right? So I want to know how often do they change the traffic light, and the answer is they change it 4 times. And I ask them, so how do you decide when to change it? And they say,
Change the traffic light time.
yeah, change the traffic light time. So they change it by the historical information. So maybe right now it's a big time, they change it, but it's not timely enough. For example, right now you have election or occasion, or for example, last week, Friday, a lot of people try to support our new captain, our new, so, and present, yeah, anyway. So it's occasional, it's not the historical data, right? So how do you change it timely? So we want to use this new system to do it, make it better. So what is just a magnetic sensor. So we'll put it underneath the road, so if a car just passed through it, I can know, okay, so right now the traffic is okay or not. So you can import the data to your machine to let them know the traffic situation right now. So how do you do that? You just determine the magnetic signature beginning and ends of each sensor node, just this one and this one, and then this information will to calculate the speed and the length of the estimation. So why we want to do that? Because based on the case I just mentioned, we want to make the second by second adjustment, not just 4 times in one day. We want to make maybe 1 hour, one time, just make it more timely, so we can adapt the nodes information and so predict where traffic could snore and all without human involvement. So we don't want to base on historical data, we want to make it by machine. So that machine decide how many seconds the intersection should have right now. Yeah. So next part is analysis.
Okay, so now we get the data by the sensor. So we can calculate for the distribution of the data, and maybe we can get the average. So that we get the VEB or VMB, and we can know the time of the traffic light at normal situation. So we can have the upper bound and lower bound in 95% confidence interval. And so that we can define that upper bound is the peak time. It's over the 2 standard deviation. And the lower bound is the off-peak. So we can know if the traffic, the flow is up, under, or over the upper bound or lower bound, we can change the time of the traffic light. And so it can make the traffic in a more efficient way. And so continuing with our dashboard.
And for the last part of our presentation, this is the dashboard that we want to display. On the upper bound and the left-hand side is the situation of all the volume we calculated. For example, the VMB and the VEB. And for the upper right-hand side, it's all the variables that we mentioned before, such as the VEB, VMB, C, and N, and etc. And so on the upper bound left-hand side and upper bound right-hand side, it's all the VEB and VMB that we calculate. You can see here it's the upper bound and the lower bound. If the volume exceeds the upper bound or it's lower than the bottom line, then we will change the system automatically, so it can make the system more efficiency. So this is all of our presentation. Thanks for your listening.
Hello everyone, and we are Group 1, and this is our topic about the agriculture, this is our outline. We will first give some introduction of our project, and we will describe the case in Taiwan, and after that we will give the solution of this problem, and we will show the prototype demo of this. Okay, so here's the introduction, and our topic is about the agriculture's problem. And agriculture means the cultivation and breeding of animals and plants. I think everyone knows that. And agriculture is the basic economic activity that provides food, fiber, and some plants, because everything we use or we eat, I think most of that is from the agriculture, and it has been exist a long time. So I think we can live without electricity, without Wi-Fi, or maybe we can, but we can't actually live without the food and plants. So agriculture is a very important part of agriculture. But there are some problems. First, as we can see, the world population is over 7.5 billion in the world now, and I think we think this number will keep rising because developing countries like China or in India, the people will grow very, very fast. And as the medical treatment is getting well, we can live longer. So I think the world population will just grow. And this arises a problem then about food production because the people will get more, but the land is infinite, so we can just grow as many food as before. But so obviously we cannot afford so many people if we just grow the food as before. And the other factor is the climate, because the climate change, so that they maybe make it harder to grow some specific food. So the food shortage will get worsened in the recent years. And the other problem is the urbanization. And you can see that there are over 6.3 billion people live in the cities. And actually there are more and more cities show up and created by every country with the advance of the technology and science. We are focused on the technology advance, but so as the cities grow, there are some areas to be less, so they are the farmland. So we can imagine that the people is growing up, but farmland is getting down, so the food production will be a severe problem. And there are two main factors. One is quality and one is efficiency that's in the agriculture. So we think that we should both increase these two factors to make the food production well, because the quality was directly due to the human bodies, and efficiency that we should make the maximum production from the infinite farmland. Okay, and let me introduce the case in Taiwan. Okay, let's focus on rice. I think most of us living here, we eat rice every day because our culture is the main food is rice. So it's not surprising that the rice takes the biggest portion of the farmland. It's about 37% in Taiwan. And this is some challenge we faced. One is cost. Due to Taiwan is a small country and we have a lot of mountains, a lot of different places that we can't have a big farm compared to the America or compared to China. So, and fragmented farmland will make the higher cost. So our rice maybe have higher cost than other countries. And the other is competition because since we joined the WTO in 2001, there are more and more important production in Taiwan. So we should compete with them, but maybe they have more quality or less cost. So we have some challenge. And the other very severe problem is the water pollution. And this is also our main topic to solve. Rice is literally grown with water because they will have. Rice is grown with water, so water is the very, very important factors that cause the rice grow. And so it may cause, if the water will polluted, maybe it will not only cause the rice be harmed, but also will do harm when we eat rice. So it's very important to keep the water clean. But in Taiwan, there are many pollution here. And due to the lack of the regulations, maybe our government the factory can easily just put their pollutants in the water and as a result, the rice will be ruined, rotted. That's something else. So, and although the local government has do some water quality inspection, but we think that the problem is not just to discover, to notice, but it's to prevent this problem. And if you can keep the water clean, it's not only improve the quality of crops, but also it lets the rooted crops, and we can increase the quantity. And so we will provide our solution.
All right, thank you. So I will talk about the main pain points about what's happening now and our solution to the problem. So, like what he said, water pollution is now a common problem in Taiwan. This is not only a problem for the farmers with respect to their production, but also for the consumers because there can be some risks to the quality of the food, which is of course a big problem. The frequency of the inspections now at the moment is not high enough to prevent it from doing harm to the product. Our solution is to put sensors from Advantech into the ground or the water source to monitor the water on a continuous basis. So when water pollution is bound to happen or it already happened, managers can take immediate action to take action and solve the problem and to prevent any losses due to water pollution. So there are a lot of water regulations in Taiwan. These are a couple of variables. I will scroll ahead a bit. You can see there are in total 27. So our product has to include them all and also show fast which of those variables will cause a problem. So that will be one of our focus points on our dashboard. We first want to focus a bit about how we create value, because that's always important. This is what we know now. Production cost of the farmer now is 13 NTD per kilogram, and market price is 45 NTD per kilogram between the farmers and the middlemen. So that's not to the end consumer, it's not the retail price, that's higher. The market price now at the moment must be in the bargaining range of the production cost of the farmer and willingness to pay of the middleman. You can see the production cost of the farmer as a reservation value of the sellers, and the willingness to pay as a reservation value of the buyers. Because this is the only information we have now at the moment, we will make some assumptions to show that our product can create value. So we can see that in the next slide. So we assume the reservation value of the buyer is 80, and the reservation value of the farmer is 10 plus 3. We assume that the real production cost, so the cost of the seeds, the water, like equipment, is 10. And 3 is a sort of risk premium, which is on top because of the water pollution. And we can see that the value created without IoT is 67. With IoT, reservation value of the buyer is still 80, but also plus a kind of margin due to the surge of quality. And the reservation value of the farmer is 10, which is the real production cost, and we can't make it any lower. Plus a risk premium, which is 50% what it was before, because now we continuously monitor the water and we can prevent any pollution to happen. And we can see that the value created is higher. So but this is just a theoretical value. We can't say if this is the actual value because we don't know any numbers. But whatever number you fill in for the reservation value of the buyer, there will always be a value improvement to an IoT product. And then we only have, so what I said, we observed that the total value created increased by introducing an IoT solution. Then at last, our dashboard. As I said, we have a lot of variables. We want to include them all in our dashboard because they are all important to the water pollution issue. So I think our main graph here is the bar plot here below, and it's the relative score of each variable to its upper limit or lower limit, and it is green when it's okay, so you don't have to take any action. It becomes yellow when it becomes higher, so there may be some concern. It becomes red when it's getting really dangerous and there really has to be some immediate action. If you want to know some extra information, you can select here on top a variable you want to show, and it will show here on the line graph with its lower and upper bound over time, and you can see if this is like an incidental thing happening or it's structural. So all of this helps the managers or the employees of the farm to see whether action has to be taken. But we also included some key variables on the left, which will always be shown because they are really important for the water pollution. Yeah, that's I think basically it. So thank you for listening.
We're Group 2, and today we're going to introduce you our IoT application on the taxi industry, and we call it the real-time forecasting system. And here are our group members and our TA. And here's our agenda. First, we'll give you a brief background introduction of the taxi industry, and then we'll define our pain points to be improved in this industry. And then, the most important part is, of course, our revenue function. After applying the IoT application, we designed. And the following two parts are the dashboard demonstration and the ecosystem profit examined by the VCM model. So to begin with the background introduction of the taxi industry. And after our discussion, we found that the time allocation for a taxi driver could roughly be divided to these 4 parts. That is the waiting time part, the service time part, the searching time part for a taxi driver hanging around and search for their clients, and finally the transportation time part for taxi driver receiving their calls and get reached to their clients. But we think that we should drop off the waiting time part out of our research because it has nothing to do with no matter for the cost or the revenue for the taxi driver. So the following research will mainly focus on the remaining 3 parts: service, searching, and transportation. So where is the pain point in this industry? And to answer this question, we have to ask ourselves that where does the revenue come from? And we believe that the revenue of the taxi driver and the industry are mainly come from the first part, that is the service time part. And on the other hand, the costs mainly come from the remaining 2 parts, the searching and transportation time part. And we found that comparing to other ride-sharing companies such as Uber, and the proportion of the searching time part and transportation time part are way too high in the taxi industry. So the main purpose of our IoT application is try to deal with this problem. So we are going to introduce our revenue function.
Yeah, you can see our revenue function over here. It's like a function of the searching and transportation time. When the searching and transportation time goes down, your revenue will go up because you have the possibility to transport more clients. Why is this also important? Now, for instance, clients now can easily order an Uber, so they want to have the searching time and transportation time go down as well. So it's also like that's important. Now, how can we estimate this searching and transportation time? We think of many variables. It could be seasonal. When the weather goes down, people don't want to walk and they buy a cab. Population, when there are more people in a certain place, you want to go, to a concert, then the location is important. So with these variables, we can estimate how the searching and transportation time will be, and estimate some revenue out of that. And it's also logical because we are going to use this information to estimate where does our cab driver needs to go to. So it's like a double. And yeah, we can use like many information like AccuWeather for how the weather will be, telephone density for how many people are at a certain place. For example, if the concert is ending, people get a notification on Facebook and then you get many cab drivers need to be here because people want to go home. So we can use all this information to estimate the revenue. However, it's really difficult to do that because it's like seasonal and every cab in every different city has a different population. So it will depend on every cab driver or cab company. I will continue.
Okay, I'm gonna further explain our searching and transportation time. because we know that the revenue from taxi driver is only focused on the service time. So the reason we separate searching and transportation time is because we want to show that searching time is reducible and transportation time isn't. So let me explain it in this diagram. Suppose there is a taxi driver called Mr. Dot. He just finished his delivery and searching for the next customer. And at the intersection, he just found that there is a customer who seemed to need a ride. So we call this Mr. Triangle. And she had been waiting for 10 minutes while no one was coming. So Mr. Dog just turned right and picked her up. So in this diagram, the broken line stands for the searching time, and the solid line stands for the transportation time. And without the forecasting system, the searching time might be large. But applying the forecasting system, the taxi driver could find the demand earlier, so the route can be shorter. And as I just mentioned, the searching time can be reduced, but in this part, the transportation time is unavoidable. And this is the dashboard we built for the taxi driver. The top left corner is the forecasted route. The system suggests the taxi driver to turn right at the Xinyi Road. And this is the estimated demand. Where the estimated demand is -1 to 5 customer. At the top right corner is the further information that gives the taxi driver about the location. So, and I want to say that it is okay for taxi driver to follow the system's suggestions or just trust his belief, because the system can be updated with data no matter the taxi driver follow the system or not. And the forecasting can be more accurate in real-time prediction. Okay, so the more fares the taxi driver can pick up, the more fare you can earn. So next part is our value capture model.
And for our value capture model, by using our real-time forecasting system, the taxi drivers can reduce their searching and transportation time, and thus they can engage in more transactions in the same amount of time. So they can achieve their ultimate goal, increase their revenue. And now we can see the change in the model because the transaction with me increased. So the pi minimum will move towards the right-hand side. And from this change, we can tell that it's beneficial to apply our system. And to sum up, with real-time forecasting system, we can expect that for Advantech, it is an innovation in the existing business model, and they don't have limit of country borders, and they can collect raw data, and the data can be sold to the government or other research firm. As for dispatching system and individual taxi driver, they can enhance their efficiency because the driver can reduce the searching and transportation time. They can have more customer one day or in the same amount of time. So as a result, we can ensure that more value can be captured. And this is the end of our presentation. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. I don't think we've met. Hi, Philip.
Hi, I'm Annie.
Ellie. Hi. Very well, thanks. So nice to meet you. I'd like to introduce you to my team. It's when I call your name, please raise your hand. Bella. Hi. And, Kylie.
Hi.
Sonia.
Hello.
Jane. Peter. We only have 20 minutes, but I thought it was important that we got a good start, right? So you already can tell we're going to talk about business model innovation in the IoT industry. And so I'm just going to give you a very brief introduction about what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to talk about what we're enabling with our products, willingness to pay, and how IoT has to do with that. And then we'll discuss, we'll give you an overview of our value net, and then we'll go into how all of this can be used to create a new business for Advantech. So Max, why don't you tell us more?
Yeah. It all begins with the IoT code. We think we can, our product is that we want to put IoT sensors onto or into a milk cow, and farmers are being able to measure the health of the cow and even the quality of the milk they are producing. And with a platform, we think that we provide to the farmers, we think we can, farmers can optimize their production and also improve the quality of the milk. And at last, a farmer will be able to guarantee and prove the quality of its milk he's producing to the milk factory. And it's also really important point. Yeah, next. This was a quick introduction to our product. Now we go to in more details about how our business will arise. We have some key assumptions over here. We think that the willingness to pay will increase for quality products. Customers are willing to pay more for high quality products. But that's only true when customers are able to recognize its quality. And especially customers are recognize quality when they know where it's coming from. And our thing is we want to increase the willingness to pay for milk. At the moment, milk is a really homogeneous product. And we think we can milk a heterogeneous product, make quality technical. So what's in for the milk factory? Because milk factory is able to collect high quality milk, they can sell high quality milk to the customers. The customers of the milk factory are big supermarkets and also businesses that are producing, they are processing milk into the products. So you can think about in bubble tea shop, chocolate manufacturers, butter, cheese, with all customers from our milk factory. We think that at this place, this end product, customers are willing to pay a lot more for high quality ingredients in their bubble tea, for instance. And there's where the higher willingness to pay will exist. We think there's an opportunity for Advantech to set up an own milk factory because of IT. And yeah, we see that IT is can be really disruptive in markets, and we think we can enlarge the total value margin of milk, and we can benefit from this. Okay, it sounds a little bit creative, but more details later from Philip. Some more details about the product. Farmers are the first part in the supply chain. We want to give the farmers the opportunity to apply IoT in their operations. So they are getting a platform to keep track of the health of the cows and the quality of the milk. They will be improvement plans for the farmers to optimize production, and insisting that the farmer is able to prove the quality of its milk to the milk factory. This is a small example of how a dashboard for the farmer look like. And the factory part is the second layer in the supply chain of the milk. This is the milk factory itself. The milk factory can, with IoT, can gather data about the quality of its milk. They can combine high quality milk sources together to keep this high quality milk. And it can keep track of the source data from where the milk is coming from. The milk factory is on this turn able to sell high quality milk to their customers, and also have food traceability in place. This being a small example for a dashboard that could be used by a factory. And in the end, where the real value exists is the consumer. What I said before, we think we can milk heterogeneous product because of the quality. We can make the quality of milk tangible. This is an example for the customers how they can see the they have quality milk, and we think customers are only able to understand the quality of its milk when he knows where it's coming from and it's proven that it's quality. First, this is something that you can apply to your product, and the customer is getting all the data that need to understand the quality of the milk and get sort of data. And it will end up like this. Here's the milk coming from. Okay, I think it's not be that detailed, but for instance, you can apply. You can give the customers information about which farm the milk is coming from. Here's our supply chain, you can say. We start here with cows, the farmers, Advent factory, and we have a small example of a customer of Advent factory, and it's cocoa. What I said before, we think we can improve the total margin on milk, and it's shown here. This is how it is now, and we can enlarge it to a higher margin. Farmers can benefit from this. We can benefit from it, and cocoa as well. And it's because cocoa is able to ask a higher price for the milk and bubble tea, because they are using high quality milk. Adventic is getting this high margin on milk. He can pay better margins to the farmers, and this is how the whole supply chain will keep together. There are some opportunities here how to do business. You can sell the sensors to the farmers, but also you can give it to them and create an environment where you're trying to get data from the whole supply chain and be the biggest player in the whole supply chain. I think this is for now enough. We have some other people, they have some more detailed information.
Yeah, thank you. So now I'm going to give you a very general idea about our value net. So first of all, this is the general idea about our value net. We're starting from the point of view of the company, whether it's a dairy factory, and we will have the relationship with the competitor, customer, competitor, and suppliers. So firstly, about the company, because we are the dairy factory, this one is, yes. So what we want to do, we want the farmers, the supplier, to put a sensor on each and every cow, so that we can control the condition of the cow, so that we can get a very idea about which one is the high quality milk, which one is average quality, and which one is low quality. Next, so this is a relationship that I'm going to explain about the relationship between the company, with the competitors, and the suppliers. in detail the company which is a dairy factory. How can we communicate to the suppliers, which are the farmers? So we want to ensure that we can get a high quality milk from the farmer. So we are willing to pay a higher price to the farmer as long as they can put the control, they can better control the quality of the milk by putting a sensor on each and every cow, so they can get a better idea of which milk is high quality one. So in the end, the supplier gonna be very happy because they can earn a more price because they can sell a higher quality milk to us, and we can give them a higher rate as well. Also, we can also get some competitive advantage over our competitor in the field, which are non-IoT companies. So because we have the IoT technology, we can produce higher quality milk to the customer so that we can benefit the customer much more, and then we can get a higher value. However, our competitors, they do not have the IoT technology, so it's not as easy as for them to produce higher quality milk than our company. And the competitors cannot pay as much and high at our company to the suppliers because they still get the same quality of milk, and they can only can only provide the customer with the same level of quality of milk. Then next we're gonna talk about the quality.
Okay, so in this part we will focus on the supplier. And the supplier means who gives us the milk. And through the sensor, we can distinguish whether it is a high quality milk or it is just a low quality milk. And then, okay, and next part we will focus on the relationship among the company, complementers, and the suppliers. And in the next slide, I will elaborate more about the relationship. Okay, so this is the company. Now we want to negotiate with the supplier to put a sensor on each of his cows, and we are willing to offer them at a higher price. And to the supplier, it will be a really good deal because with the sensor, he can prove that his quality of milk is really good, and therefore he can ask for a higher price with it. So next part, we can go on to collaborate with the complementers, and we will try to co-create more value to the customer. But how can we co-create the value to the customer? Sonia will elaborate for us.
Okay, and I'm discussing the customer's company and the complementers relationship. Okay, what's the complements of the milk? Like we go to the milk tea shop, the sugar, the bubbles, and the green tea may be the complements of the milk. And we go to the bakery, the oil or the eggs may be the complements of the milk. So what will we do? We can collaborate with the complementers and pack the milk and these complements together as a package and sell these packages to different customers. So this is the interaction among these three, this triangle. And why are these complementers are willing to cooperate with us? It is because we have the IoT system. As our partner just mentioned before, we have the sensors and the IoT system which can ensure the different quality milk. So after we cooperate with the complementers, we can ensure not only the different quality milk, but also we can sell the different quality dairy products to our customers. And then we can set in the different price of the products to the customers, and they can choose what they want to buy. And Jen will elaborate more about the customers.
So we talk about the customers. They might be probably include all of these stores, just like the chocolate company, our milk tea shop and bakery, and the retailing waffle shop and cheese. So I'm going to talk about the relationship among the customer, competitor, and the company. And take a look at this picture. Imagine you are the customers.
and you want to order the milk for the ingredient, and if such as a chocolate company, and chocolate company they want to produce the diverse chocolate in this situation, and they want to choose a different milk quality to produce them. So there are two producers to provide the milk to customers. And the first is the factory with IoT counts. As our partner mentioned just now, we can offer different quality milk to our customers, and also can make the price discrimination based on the milk quality. And then our competitor, that is the factory without IoT count. They only can provide the same milk and charge the same price to customers. So for the customers, who will meet their needs and who can save the cost for them? I think this is a factory with an IoT count, because they can provide a different choice milk quality to the customer, and they can also produce a diverse chocolate based on this milk quality. So I think in this case, the factory with IoT count can get more value appropriation. So here is our value net. With our IoT solution, we can fulfill any parties of the value net.
Thanks so much, Jenny. So far you've heard us talk a little about milk. We've also talked about bubble tea, which is what we're going to propose as a pilot. But to begin with, we're going to take a step back and talk to you more about the market potential for JV in this area. So right now, we haven't seen a lot of companies that have fully adapted to IoT-enabled agriculture. If you look at some of the agriculture in Taiwan, Weichuan worth about 12,000 million NTD, Uni President about 400,000 million NTD. The reason why these two examples are significant is Uni President is more fully integrated, while Weichuan is more focused. Globally, look at Danone and Nestle, right? They're two ends of two global companies. One's at, well, the numbers speak for themselves. So I wanted to give you a quick look at what the market capitalization looks like. Weichuan, Uni President, Danone, Nestle. So if you do something right, you can make it even bigger. So it's really important that it's scalable. This is a key advantage of IoT. So you can take it all the way to Taiwan and beyond. Here's how Advantech looks like. We're just comparing Taiwanese companies. So here's Advantech. Here's how well integrated Uni President is. Here's Weichuan. And, oh, go back one. And this is how the whole picture looks. So, assuming that we just expand the business, do a JV to get into the food market, we can grow it to the size of a company that's not IoT enabled. And you're talking about putting Advantech and Weichuan together. If you do that, it becomes about 8% bigger. It becomes an 8% bigger company when you look at the market cap. So we want to start with milk. Why? If we exclusively focus on milk, yeah, it's a growth industry. Well, globally, there's a compound annual growth rate of 8%. We're going from 17 billion to 22 billion USD. Another reason why milk is particularly important in Taiwan is that we see a great variance in the average price paid for milk. I only have data for Taiwan, but in 2018, consumers are used to paying within a range of 79 to 120 NTD per liter. So we know they're willing to pay. The problem with milk is it's a commodity, so you want to put into a value-added good, right? For example, bubble milk tea. This is also a growth industry. It's going to grow by 7% each year from 2.4 billion USD to 3.2 billion USD. Now, this industry is already integrated in some ways, because you see chains that own some tea, source for tea somewhere down the line. But tea is not the most expensive part of bubble milk tea, right? The milk is. So just going back to why we want to establish a pilot program, right? So we want to test the viability of taking premium goods, putting it into a fast-moving consumer goods market. There's not been much change in the bubble tea market. Things are still made the same way they were. We just have more outlets now. It's a product everyone's familiar with, and an industry that Taiwan is particularly close to. In terms of competitors, well, if we're IoT enabled the way we talk about, they can't compete, but not really, but they will grow the overall industry, similar to what Android decided to take on Apple. In terms of complementers, we have the opportunity to partner with new value-added suppliers and add them into our system. So why JV? Okay, well, yeah, we did look at the SRP package because we know that's something you guys do. But the truth is, we have the opportunity to displace incumbents. This is not going to be as difficult to pull off as we think. And if you look at SRPs, there's a couple of mega food conglomerates in Taiwan we have to work with. If they all say no, what do? We would have to create our own one anyway. And those conglomerates also have a lot of leverage. Just look at the size of UD President, right? They're a much bigger company than Advantech. So if we're selling into them, ultimately they still have more leverage over us. So what we propose is to create a JV, not be an asset builder, be an asset operator. So Advantech, when we look at it, we think Advantech offers partners 3 key enablers. One is ability to scale with IoT. We can influence smaller players because we can pull them together, right? We can now monitor a large group of cows or dairy products at once. And we also offer market access because we're trying to become vertically integrated. So we created just a quick sample pyramid for our vision, mission, values, goals, and strategies. You don't have to spend too much time on this. In fact, we're going to move on for the sake of time. So I'm going to go back and talk to you about the bubble tea market. We're going to create a platform business to serve it. As you guys know, it's a new application of existing pathways, so we're not trying to reinvent something. We're trying to do something new with technology you already have. It's not a cost-down proposition. It's about value appropriation. We want to deliver a better product in a way that reduces costs. It's not that if you just deliver a product in a way that reduces costs, it's not even a switching incentive for the customer. And we aim to raise costs in a way to make a better product that doesn't reduce the consumer's willingness to pay. Remember that range for milk for 1 liter ranged from 79 to 120 in 2018 alone. So we did a quick perceptual mapping exercise. This is exactly where we hope to occupy. Here's 7-Eleven, here's Coco, here's Blue Street vendors. This is actually more of a scale. Here's no man's land. Nobody wants to try to do high quality ingredients with acceptable taste. I'm going to just fast forward through this because I think you're pretty familiar with this diagram. And I'll go back and show you why our proposal creates value for everybody we work with, right? So with the farmers, by helping them invest in IoT, they can capture additional margin by selling a higher quality, higher product and gain economies of scale. From Advantech, we actually appropriate more value to all parties by selling a product that's previously not as economically viable. And for our test market, bubble tea shops, they can acquire premium products that enable higher willingness to pay at a cost that other suppliers cannot match. These are some future considerations that we need to think about when it comes to the value net. Players, added value, rules, tax, and scope. These are key enablers for making value net work. For next steps in our current phase, it involves parts too, but we're still assessing the market, right? We want to determine what we're measuring, get a better understanding of the markets, have a more sophisticated understanding of competitive forces, determine the rules of this industry, and clarify our business model, right? Because right now we have a business idea, but we don't really have a concrete business model. Because of the smart with partnerships, this is also potentially a social enterprise, right? Because we can work with smaller producers. After assessing the market, what would we do next? Well, we need to establish relationships, determine what are the decision variables, test the milk product. We now need to test the milk product for bubble tea, figure out who we want to work with to test this, and then finally penetrate the market, become fully integrated, and perhaps even introduce IoT automation to retail outlets. And we just want to say one more thing to you. We're very fortunate to have been given a lot of opportunities, but we think we've been given opportunities because we performed well up till now. We believe that if we perform well, we partner with the right people, like you, we have a better chance to succeed. And if we succeed in this business proposal, we think it's something that will give young people in Taiwan hope, and it's something that Taiwan people can be proud of because we're focusing on core competencies this nation has. Thanks for your feedback.
Okay, for idea pitch, I think all of you proposed a very good and innovative idea, but now you only propose idea. only idea actually. So for your final pitch, you need to transfer your idea to real business model, even though it's not a true business, but it should be a real business model. So Ellie just mentioned you need to first identify your target customer, the right target customer. So choose one target customer. None of you talk about your target customer today. So it's the first question you need to know. And then define your solution, your product or your solution clearly. Today you only talk about your value proposition, your customer will get what kind of benefit, but you don't tell me the detail about your product or solution. How you give this benefit to customer, you need to identify very clearly. And then is cost. None of you talk about cost today, right? So these three questions are you need to find the answer before the final pitch. And I believe you can do very well, and I expect to see your final report. So good luck to you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Quick ending. Thanks for everyone's comments. And I think today you have done a great job. And I can see several groups, you really pay attention, try to use this smartness, find out good business model, and use on your good mathematical brain, and try to find out reducible session time, and also try to find out how to calculate volume. And that's quite amazing. And some of you also try to do the statistical analysis using like normal distribution, and rather than just find out standard from Google it or whatever. So you start to use some of your wisdom learned from university. I think that's also amazing to me. I want to emphasize what Apple say about the business model. I think you should know about value capture model. How do you do value creation using monetary amounts such as dollars? That's quite important. So next 5 weeks later, for final project, I really encourage you to try to calculate total value creation in the industry. And also, if you want to enter how IoT really help you to appropriate that value and show the guest speaker, invited speaker, how to really capture that value and use some figure and nice diagram. And we want to show the value appropriation and value creation in real number imputed by the figures and numbers or whatever information you can click online or you do some survey. I think your TA will tell you. Is that clear? Okay, yes? Is that clear? Yes, okay, that's very good. So now we finished today's idea pitch. You have done the nice job. I really appreciate. And the other groups, you are also very good. I can see you really put smartness. But next time, I want to see you can learn from the Jen's group. And you can see Jen, they really find it lots of minutes. I really appreciate. I think this is the attitude I see abroad. I really like it. But they also can improve more data analysis and mathematical brain using IoT technology at the other group. So actually each group complement each other. I want you to learn from each other. And so next time I wait for your great job. Okay, well done. Yeah, we'll finish today and okay. Then our invite speaker may stay here for the other 5 minutes and you can ask more questions. Maybe now you can use Mandarin or English, depends on where you're from. Is that clear? Okay, so you can take break now. Okay, bye-bye. Yeah, thank you.